everybody. Okay, the afternoon was so wow. I had to make another video. Okay. So the first witness, there were only two witnesses today. The first witness was Ian Whiffen, the cell right guy. And I talked about it yesterday a little bit. That he had made another program because it didn't do everything he wanted it to do, right? Okay, so it turns out that he knows more than he let on yesterday. And even uh, hold on, I gotta think. The Defense Diaries podcast, they broadcast the trial every day, and they showed today because we had a little bit of time the trial number one versus this one, and even his testimony changed. And we're talking about a year, maybe. I mean, we're not talking about 2 years ago. We're talking a year, and it changed. And uh, Brennan asked him if he had any knowledge of what was going on, you know, uh, that he was working for the Commonwealth, and he tried to be like, no, no, I had no idea. Okay, but some other stuff came out that I had no idea about. The fact that they changed the way the program works right after the first trial. Coincidence? Yeah, maybe. But then he says, I had no idea. No idea. And then he says, well, maybe I did. And then his answers were maybe to a lot of stuff that should have been definite yes or no. And the answer should have been no if he was talking and acting honestly. But his answers were maybe to some key questions. So then it just came out that he was more involved than he said he was. Because I'll give you an example. Oh, okay. The guy, Dr. Wolf. There's two guys, the ARCA guys. Um, and they haven't testified yet. They had voted the other day, right? Okay. So the Dr. Wolf says, no, I did not know so and so. Okay, they wanted to talk about the payment, the fact that Haren Read has paid them, their company, right? And he says, no, I had no idea, none. And he says, that's not even my department. I don't know what happens in billing. I don't even know who gets billed, when, what amount, anything. I know nothing. And he said again, like every question was, no, I don't know. But he didn't lose his cool. But it was never maybe. Never. Never. Okay. And then he tried to say that because he called him Alan and not Mr. Jackson, Karen Read's main attorney, the Hank Brennan tried to make it that he was too close, chummy, if you like, with the defense, but that wasn't the case. Okay. And then today, here's the comparison. So Ian Whiffen says, oh yeah, well Nick told me this, and Nick told me that, and then he says, who's Nick or something like that, right? Because even I didn't connect the dots initially because I'm figuring maybe there's another Nick. Yes, I knew there was the trooper Nicholas Garino, but I never jumped automatically to, okay, his name is Nicholas, so then somebody might call him Nick. Okay, my point is, with all this, only people, you would think that only people really close to you would have a shortened form of your name. And anyway, that's number one. Number two, most people would call you Officer Garino. And if you want to be less formal than that, maybe Nicholas. But the fact that he shortened it to Nick, okay, that gave me pause. And then when uh, Alessi was doing the cross today, and I told you when Alessi does it, it's serious business. I'm not joking. He uncovers every rock, everything, and he asked him direct questions, yes and no. And like I said, it was maybe too much, and I was like, "There's something here. Like, it's a little sus." Okay. Okay, so that was that, and I was like, "Oh God, okay, wow." I was saying other words, but I can't say those words. It was bad. Okay, so then we get down to the second witness of the day, and it was Jennifer McCabe, and it was like, ding ding. I felt like going because I felt like a fight was coming. Okay, so she comes on the stand, and to let you know from the first trial a little bit, okay, she likes to take charge, and uh, evidence of that is when Lolly would ask her questions from the first trial. Okay, she would answer like she's a judge. She did that a couple times. Number two, when she gets caught in a lie, she gets extra defensive and like raises her voice and gives a look like, I always say, well, not always, but I say the look that could kill. Yeah, she gave it a couple times. The first trial. Okay, so this is the second trial, right? Okay, appearance wise, she has changed her hair and gotten a tan. Like you can tell she's gotten a tan and changed her hair. Okay, so totally different look from the first trial. And I mention this because I didn't think about it, but it's true. Some people judge on the jury how people look as to if they're truthful or not or whatever. It shouldn't be done, but it's done more than you think. Okay. Number two, she's trying to be all friendly and that Karen on her friends really close and yada yada. And I'm like, BS, BS. Okay, number one. Number two, she's trying to act like John O'Keefe and her were really close, like this tight. And I'm like, not true. I wanted, like, I was literally saying, okay, well, if we're so close, then why didn't you try to save my life? Because I guarantee you, she was in the house when the stuff was going down, and she didn't do anything to try to stop it or whatever. And also, oh, the other thing I forgot about Ian Whiffen, real quick. Okay, so there was because he's a cell phone guy, right? Okay, so there was a thing where he says Jennifer McCabe texted or looked up uh, the how long to die in the cold at 12 or 2:30 at night, which is maybe, well, it's after it happened, but like slightly after. And then what she tried to do is she tried to like erase the search, and then she looked for the same thing, kind of, only she screwed it up most times on how long Ti die and she didn't even spell cold right. But then the thing is that the time span of 4 hours has always been suspect. Always. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So then there were just times where she just acted like, well, I said it before, I'll say it again. She acted like a mean girl. Like she was part of this clique of whatever. A lot of people have called it the McAlberts, the McCabe's and the Alberts, because they're two families, but apparently they're really tight. And if you're in the group, they help you out. If you're an outsider like John and Karen were, then they don't care. So that has been my case from day one. Well, I mean, it's not day one, very early on, because I said there's something wrong with this whole thing. I said it, and I stick by it. And if anything, I believe it even more the second trial than the first one, because everybody seems like it's like everybody's telling the story and they just have these facts to fit the story they want to tell. Not the way you should do it. You should follow the facts. But that's not what they did. So, and we're day 6. So imagine how bad it's going to get. I mean, wow. All right. Bye, everybody.